Hello! You already save a lot of money every year thanks to our videos, so save on car parts too. Buy them on the Mr. Auto app. Shipping is free.
In order to change the oil, you will have to purchase an oil filter, a pre-oil change cleaner and an oil collector. You can find the recommended parts and products in the video description, as well as in the link to know the type of oil and the amount needed. Turn off the ignition, pull out the handbrake, pull on the bonnet release lever and open the bonnet. Open the oil fill plug. This will increase the oil flow when performing an oil change. Before changing your oil, we advise adding a pre-draining cleaner to the used oil in your engine. This will enable you to unclog your engine and get rid of any persistent residue to reduce your consumption of oil and fuel and to reduce the polluting emissions as part of a technical checkup. Before using it, start your vehicle for 5 minutes so that the oil is slightly warm. Then add the product and leave your engine turning over slowly for 10 to 15 minutes. Once the product has been added, you must not drive your car. Ensure that you change the oil immediately afterwards. In order to drain your vehicle, you must first lift the front section of your car. This will enable you to access the drain nut. Lift the front of your vehicle and put it in the 2-axle stands. We strongly suggest watching the tutorial, raising your vehicle safely before carrying out this step. If the front plastic crankcase is present, you should now remove it to have full access to the drain nut. To begin with, loosen the drain nut with a socket wrench and a 12mm Allen socket. Then finish the process by hand. Be careful on the last few turns of the screw. The oil may suddenly squirt out. Anticipate this by placing a container underneath to collect the oil. You can learn how to make one by watching another of our videos, How to Make a Collector for Liquids. Let the oil run out for 10 minutes or so. Start putting the drain nuts back on by hand. And finish tightening it with a socket wrench and a 12mm Allen key. When you change the oil in your car, you must also replace the oil filter. To collect the oil contained in the filter that might come out when it is removed, place a liquid collector underneath. To be able to access the oil filter, you must disconnect and separate the air supply conduit. You should now be able to access the protection cover on the oil filter. To remove it, take a socket wrench, a big extender, a Torx T30 and a 10mm socket and unscrew those screws located on each side. Then release the lug nut on the 3rd holding tab. Remove the protection cover. You can now access the filter flange. Take out a socket wrench, an extender and a 27mm socket. Release the flange by unscrewing it in an anti-clockwise direction until it turns easily. Finish the unscrewing process by hand and remove the filter. Using a thin screwdriver, take out the rubber O-ring which is located on the flange washer. Clean the filter flange using brake cleaner fluid and paper towels. Take the new filter and compare it with the old one to ensure that they're identical. Replace the seal with the one that is supplied with the new filter, ensuring you properly oil its surface. Insert the new filter into the flange. until you hear the click that says it has been locked into place. Rescrew the filter in place until it makes contact. To tighten it, take a socket wrench, an extender and a 27mm socket. For this step, you can also use a dynametric key that has been set to 25 Nm. You can now put the filter protection back in place. Then add the air inlet conduit. Now you have to put oil back into the motor. You have to be very careful and precise when doing this part of the job. Firstly, lower your car back to the ground and check the oil level. This is something that can only be done when the vehicle is flat. Begin by putting 90% of the suggested amount. This will leave you a large enough margin to adjust the level of oil appropriately. You can find the exact amount of oil suggested for your car in the description of the tutorial. Close the oil fill plug. Start the engine and let the car run for 30 seconds. This will fill the oil filter. Remove the oil gauge and wipe it down. Plunge it back into its sheath. Remove it again and check the oil level. The optimal level is near the maximum, but be careful to never go over it. Based on the level indicated on the gauge, readjust to obtain the optimum amount. Operation completed.